Okay, we're live.
Hey.
Live on YouTube. It's working now. Okay, we're good.
So, Lisa Murphy, then you want to call the meeting to order? Can we do that?
You're on mute, Director Murphy.
All right, I would like to call the meeting of the HR and Outreach Committee to order. So, unfortunately, I'm on a different computer, and I can't have multiple screens open at the same time. So how would we, the first discussion item is proposed video vignette topics, and that it says /campaign. May I start with some ideas of what I've heard from folks of interest of what they'd like to know?
Sure, absolutely.
Sounds good.
Okay, open it up to, is there public here? Because you can't get to it from the website, I can't imagine that there's public here.
Well, it's open to the public.
It's not on the website. That's what I was saying, is that's why I'm on a different computer today, is because you can't get to it from the website. Or at least-
Yes, it's under the board committees. I got on it through the website.
Okay. Yeah, I tried a couple of different ways and wasn't able to achieve that. So do we have any public here?
No.
We do not.
Okay.
Well, we have two extra, we have two directors. Yes. Two other directors.
Great. But they're not allowed to speak in the committee meetings.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'll just go ahead and just some thoughts that were brought to my attention, and then
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
no worries. It's weird when I had
He was walking on water.
All right. So I think, things that have been brought to my attention of things that people would like to know that they seem a little bit fuzzy about. And agenda item 1 and 3 in my mind kind of go, 1 and 3 kind of go hand in hand with as far as education, because they kind of cross over with each other. I think in general, from what I'm hearing from the public, they don't really understand what infrastructure belongs to TUD and what infrastructure belongs to PG&E. Specifically, like it seems like the Tuolumne Main Canal is one of those things that people assume is part of TUD, but isn't. So just an overview kind of that helps illuminate that. Also, where does our water come from and how does it get to them? And that might be two different things. Where does the water come from might be one. That's talking more kind of watershed snowpack into the reservoirs. And then how does it get to them, following the raw water and following the treated water once it gets treated. And that would go into how is it distributed as well. Then I think that a lot of people also aren't aware of what happens to the water after most people, when you think of the sewage plant, a lot of folks just think of that as the end. And I think something talking about what happens to it after that, and really illuminating that it gets used for agricultural uses, because I think that's a highlight that would be great if people understood a little bit more. Also, something that clarifies why the stormwater needs to be treated. Why does that go through what happens with the stormwater, and why does it go through the treatment plant? Because I think a lot of people don't think about all the pollutants and stuff that get added to that. Because I've heard from a lot of folks of like, why don't we just let it go into the streams, or or sink it, store it, sink it, kind of stuff. So I think illumination on that would be really helpful for folks, just for the basics. And then when we're looking into why the PG&E acquisition is so important, I think part of that thing of clarifying what currently TUD assets, and what is currently PG&E assets. Also, just a vignette on the benefit of the model of water first when talking about management of flow and stuff like that. And then, of course, why are locally owned water rights important? And a big part of that, I think, is that piece of being able to prioritize the water first and manage the water for water, which is different than with the current situation where PG&E has the water rights and has the interest in making power for their operation. And then as a courtesy, we get the water. And so I think that that's really different if Tuolumne County had the water rights. And that something that acknowledges the varying snowpack and the longer, hotter summers that we're experiencing and periodic droughts, and how kind of having the locally owned water rights and the water first management of flow, a little bit more control over that would be a benefit as we look into the future. So those are the big things that I came up with. I'll open it up. Anybody else have thoughts on what would be educational and interesting for folks, or how we should best go about doing this?
Director Murphy, did you have a chance to look at the outline I sent out?
I've got a small version of it right here. And so it's got the who is TUD, where does your water come from, how does water get to my tap, is your water safe to drink, why is water treatment? Yes, yeah. I didn't get it before. I am seeing it now.
I was gonna see if I can share my screen. So if everyone could see that. These were just some outline topics that we put together just from things that I've heard as well in the public. And so these are just some other ideas, but I think that if we decide we're going down the video path, we can really determine how many of them we want to do, and kind of the length. I think 2 to 3 minutes is very good. Over 3 minutes is too long. I see these as something that we can have a video page on the website, share them on Facebook, do little clips with them. So these are just some ideas that I had put together with Abby. So who is TUD? Why is it important? How is it functioning? How did it get started? So that's just one of the other ideas, and kind of something that you had just touched on. Where does your water come from? And we could expand on that. I mean, where our water comes from is definitely 2 to 3 minutes. And then we could go off into, like you were saying, and we could say, these are TUD facilities, these are PG&E facilities, something like that. How does water get to my tap? And so, you know, these are just some ideas. The day in life in a water treatment operator. How is your water treated? How is it safe? And then I thought just for regular customer service, and quite a few districts have this, is ideas on how to check your meter. And if you have a leak, how do you even do that? Quite a few, like CCWD, they have one on YouTube that has a really good video for customers to be able to be a little bit proactive if they're wondering if they have a leak. And then what happens after I flush my toilet? I thought that just kind of explains where the sewage goes and how that all works. So those are just some other ideas that we had as well. But I think once we have a game plan and decide the route we want to go on that, then we can decide exactly how many we want to do, the time period we want to do them, and the cost and who's going to be in charge and who are we going to video. So there's quite a few steps after we decide the topics and the outline and things like that.
Yeah. Is there any other discussion?
Director Murphy, when I
Yeah.
saw this outline and this topic, my mind, first of all, yeah, those are really great questions. And, if we were a smaller district, they would be a lot easier to explain and show. But one of the things we developed a few years ago was something called TUD at a glance. And I don't know if it's a 2-page document that holds quite a bit of information. Have you seen that document?
Is it on the website? Because I've got the website pulled up on my other computer right now.
No,
No.
it was mostly for when people are out in the field or mostly management. When they were speaking and doing presentations, it's a 2-sided informational sheet about the district.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Well, it's a pretty neat document, and it gets updated, at least once a year. I shouldn't say at least. It gets updated once a year for pertinent reasons. But anyway, I think that's one important piece that I think would be good for you to look at and understand, and see if you can get some takeaways from that as far as pertinent information.
And
TUD.
what is that called again?
TUD at a glance. I imagine somebody can email it to you pretty quickly. I would imagine, but we'll get it to you for sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So
Go
I
ahead.
wanted to touch also on costs. We've done videos in the past, the district has, and if we hire someone like a professional videographer and they do the editing and the filming, we would come up with the script and who we'd want to interview. The range is from $2,500 to $3,200 per video, just to give you an idea on average. So what I thought would be a great idea and a great opportunity for the district is I reached out to Columbia College and I talked to the media and design professor out there. I kind of gave them an idea of what we were thinking and if they were interested in having a student work with us on this project, and received an email, very excited, from the professor, and she has a couple students in mind that would be very interested in working with us on this project if we wanted to go down that path.
And who's the professor you talked to?
Kath Christensen,
Okay, yeah, I know her well.
yeah, and she's in charge of media and design at the college.
And did she mention who the students were?
Well, she wanted to see, I didn't want to get her too excited, Director Murphy, until I knew the board was wanting to go that route. And if we, but she said definitely she has a couple students in mind, and then she would just partner us with them, and then I would meet with them and see if we can get this ball rolling.
Excellent. Yeah. So for for Fire PIO, when we are producing videos, we just did them internally. It doesn't really actually, it's not actually that difficult to do small vignettes that are kind of more of the casual, where you're interviewing a staff member, you are and inserting maps and things like that. And so I think that would be something that that we could work with a student on, and I'd be happy to be part of working with a student on that. And the equipment is really simple. You just need a lapel mic with a long cord. You have iPhones work really well because they have a stabilizing thing, and use a little device like this to hold it. And with that, you get a very stable thing. You get good audio, and it works out pretty well. And that's what we use on the fires to produce videos quickly. You can produce it in a couple of hours. So much less expensive than getting a professional videographer in there. And so I think if we want to my opinion is if we want to get started with the first one, that's utilizing a student, and that would be fantastic if Kath has someone that could get started with us on the kind of new side of things. I will be seeing her tomorrow at graduation, I'm sure, so I can touch base with her. But yeah, I think that's a great idea to try it. And some of the things that I've seen be very effective are just, again, using that simple equipment and doing on-site, like if we're, let's say, talking about the Sonora treatment plant, because a lot of people ask about that up here, and like why part of the ditch right now is full of water, and and right above that there's no water in it. Like, how does that happen? And it's clearly because another pipe is coming in through and stuff. But just things like that, where you can go out in the field with someone and walk around for a couple of minutes and have them explain those things. And I love the idea of putting it up on the website, where there's a series of videos that are short and sweet, and people can just click on them. So that's a great idea. Good job.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it sounds like we are going to move this forward. So I'm imagining we need a committee recommendation.
And I'm assuming that we take this to the full board and kind of explain what's happening and get the approval of the full board. Is that accurate?
Yeah,
I think that would be correct.
Okay.
that we're recommending going forward with little vignettes. And I hear keeping it really informal and pursuing the partnership with the college. Because each one of these could be put to a small vignette really quickly, so that somebody could just click on it, and there's just somebody saying who we are, probably faster than it would take the time for somebody to read this text. But this text is great too.
And does TUD have a way? We have the YouTube channel now. Do we have a Facebook presence?
Oh, yes. Yes, I post probably 2 to 3 posts a week on Facebook.
And I'm just seeing the emblem up in the corner, but that's the first time that I've known that there's a Facebook page. So my guess is that the vast majority of the public has no idea there's a Facebook page. So maybe more than just that symbol up in the corner of to allow people to understand that there's another place to look, if it's possible. Just, I've been spending the last like 5 hours I just spent on the website looking at all different things and reading all different things to just see what the public interface is with it. And I didn't notice any connection to Facebook until you just said it right now. So I'm guessing the average public person hasn't noticed that either.
We have about 675 followers currently on Facebook.
Nice.
And what seems really good is once, depending on what the story is, I'll share that on different venues. Like if it's a PSPS event, I'll share it on Tuolumne County Incident Feed. So then it goes to more people. And then the Forest Service usually shares my posts as well. So
Yeah.
then it gets a lot more hits and things like that.
Yeah, I bet.
And so I will reach out to Professor Christensen and see if I could get a little bit more details on a timeline. So when we present it to the board, I'll have a little bit more information.
Excellent.
I have a question. What I'd like to see on our web page is a map that's got where you mouse over it and a little call out box appears, for let's say the main canal, and a little call out box that just says PG&E owns this and they own the waters. The mouse over map thing is something that I think would be great on our website as well. And that certainly, I think a college one of Kat's students might be capable of doing something like that, working with the staff. So everywhere somebody mouses over, it's like Pinecrest Lake, little call out box would explain what it is.
Yeah, I think that might be a little more complicated, but it's worth asking.
It really isn't. It's really simple.
Oh, good.
We do it for archaeology.
Are we ready to move on to item
I
number
think it's
2
something
then?
to pursue.
Since we're talking about the website, I'm just asking.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I just wanted to add one thing. We've been taking lots of notes from what the board has been wanting to hear and see about, and the feedback that they're getting from their constituents. So I appreciate Lisa putting this outline together. We worked on it together based on some of the feedback that we have already heard from the board. And so this is a great starting point for the vignettes. And Lisa had the great idea of working with the college. So we're looking forward to that. And then on this next item, I thought it would be a good idea for Lisa to walk through a tour of the website to help the board members navigate through it, to see what information is already available and where to find it, so that you could also lead your constituents through that, or be familiar with what's on there, to be able to share that information as well. I think for the videos, you know, all of this information, we have a plethora of information that a variety of different staff members have helped put that together, and Lisa has on the majority of put the information together, put it out to the public in various different modes. But so we have the information. It's just a matter of putting a face on the video and then sharing it in a different kind of manner that may reach more people. So this is great discussion. So with that, Lisa, are you ready to, it looks like you've got the website up and ready to go?
I do.
Okay. Excellent.
So with all technology, websites usually get facelifts, I'm telling you. When I first started, let me just go back. When I first started at TUD, we had a one-page website. That's all we had, one page at TUD. And I was like, that was my first job, is I'm like, oh my gosh, this is horrendous. So overall, we've come a long way in the 13 years I've been at TUD. This is the second version of the website complete that we've had. I have a really great web designer. She does an awesome job, very responsive. But like many things in technology, it usually needs a little bit of fine tuning, a facelift, like every 2 to 3 years, because people like to have a fresh look. So Abby and I were actually talking about that as I was working on the budget. And so we are actually in the process of changing. This is a WordPress design website, which has been great. I can do most of the adding of projects and any editing and anything that needs to be done on the back end. This was added. New and I worked on this together, but overall it works for us. It's great. But I'm thinking that it may be time that we just move things around, do a little facelift, especially as we move forward with the PG&E acquisition. We're going to have more people visibly looking at the website. So I thought now would be a really good time to just kind of freshen it up a little. So I just wanted to show you kind of where it is right now. And then I wanted to show you also what CCWD has done. So this is the, and I know a lot of people don't like that you're scrolling, and we are going to get rid of some of this white space, is what we call it. They're like breaks. And so we're going to be switching from, it's called Eliminator, which is another platform. And I'm in the process with New right now, updating that, but it's not live yet. I'm hoping to get that live in the next 2 weeks. So it'll look a little bit crisper and cleaner, and it loads faster. So that's really good. So that's a back end thing. But we could move some of this news up higher if we want. So there's an opportunity to make changes, is what I'm saying. So websites can definitely get facelifts and improve. And so I would love to work with the management team or anyone that would like to work with me on what they think needs to be improved on the website. Because I'm always open for changes. And then we use quite a bit for the engineering, their bids. And so I'm not sure if Eric, wants to change any of this, but we have a lot of information regarding different projects that we're doing. So people can go on here and bid and look at the project documents. And I know that working with Michaela, we're posting things probably every couple of weeks because we have a lot of projects going on. And then we have a very robust, I think, customer service page. So here people can come on here and pay their bill, look at the payment options, look at the sewer rates, water rates, whatever they're looking for. And then we have a testimonial page too, what customers are saying when we hear positive news about the staff members.
Lisa, you solicited, my opinion on the development and the new projects. I think it's fantastic. It's been a huge asset for us to get these projects circulated and saved a lot of staff time for Michaela and others here as we just direct people to the website. You can download all the project documents. I mean, our entire regional wastewater treatment plant project, all of the plans, specs, specifications, contract documents are all right there. And all the vendors, all the subcontractors, all the prime contractors just go and download it. It goes to a OneDrive. So you've been fantastic in that. The only thing I think maybe constructive criticism, and I think you may have already touched on it, is there's as you scroll down, there's like a lag. And I think that's maybe what you were talking about with that white space.
Yeah.
If you aren't a really assertive scroller, you could stop early before it loads and appears down below. And I think there have been a few times when people have called Michaela's like, I can't find this particular project. And she said, well, did you scroll down far enough? And that would be the only thing I could think of. But other than that, it seems very user friendly to me. But I'm not good with the aesthetics and all that. So I leave that to others how to make it appear, but it's very functional.
Well, I was talking with New this week about that because it's not a problem we have. We have a lot of information. The district has a lot of information. I think a lot of people do spend time on the website. So what we were talking about on those pages that are long and have a lot of information is doing a little drop-down arrow. So you would know, seeing it, it would kind of cue the person that, oh, like this one goes up, but it'd be a little bit more prominent. So you would say, oh, there's more information down here. So I think that would be a way to kind of address that issue.
Sounds good.
So I just wanted to just give this quick overview, but I'm open to suggestions, changes, if we want to do a little facelift on this. And then we do have a button here, and I wanted to just make sure the board was aware we have our TUCO button. And that goes to the TUCO website that we put up last year that has a lot of information about the PG&E acquisition. A lot of history on this. People are signing up for a newsletter. When we have more information, we will release it there. So we haven't even been really pushing people to go to the site so much right now until we have more information to share. But it is here, has a lot of history. How is it going to benefit us? And this site can change and evolve as well once we know a little bit more of where we're going with it. And this is the recent news things related to the PG&E acquisition. And we have an events page that I would like to use sometime, hopefully, in the future. So I just wanted to bring those things to your attention. And one more thing. On the CCWD website, they do have an item I really like. I used to work quite closely with Joel Metzger, who's no longer there. He's the general manager now at Utica. And he put this together and I thought I really like it. And a lot of this information is on the TUD site. It's just where do you go if you're looking for something? And then you could just click on it and this will get you to the answer you're looking for. And we don't need to call it I want to. It could be did you know, or have you seen, or are you looking for? Or we could, whatever we want to call it. But then you click on it and it'll go right to kind of the answer you're looking for. So it's more of a navigation tool for customers. But I like that if someone came to our site and they weren't sure what they were looking for or didn't even know what they were looking for. We do have a search feature on the website. I think this is a little cleaner. So it was something I was thinking about TUD doing.
I like the CCWD website. I've been on it. I like this idea.
Okay. Yeah, new, my web designer, she designed this one as well. And so they just did a facelift 2 years ago on their website. And she made it look a little bit fresher and stuff.
Now might be a good time to just pause and does anyone have any questions about any of the tabs on the website, or do you have a burning question for information that you haven't seen on the website that you think is important?
I got a question for Director Balin. Is this where you were envisioning having that interactive map where you would hover your mouse over a certain thing and a window would pop up and explain what it was?
Yeah, I mean, they're really quick, and somebody could mouse over anything on let's say a Google aerial view of our county, and suddenly the ditch would pop up or be highlighted, people could just noodle around and get that kind of perspective visually. A photo could pop up, happens a lot. People post their kinds of photos of when they were there and what it looked like, on TripAdvisor, they do that. So I just think it would be really great because it's a system context, and I don't think it would be difficult at all. These are it's just various layers. And certainly photos would be really great. More photos of our system. Like we have a lot of photos of things that we don't own, which is great. And I love that photo that shows Pinecrest and the snow. I mean, that's a really good shot there. But, I would love more photos of our tanks and, especially if we're going to be doing PowerPoints to civic groups and whatnot, that we have a balanced, we're able to showcase some of our facilities, our sewer facility, water facility, the reclaimed water, down by the Stone Corral. So things that can clue people into like, oh yeah, that's there. And oh yeah, that's on the way to Chinese camp. And oh, I always want to know what Quartz Reservoir looked like. And perhaps those are featured on here and I just haven't found them yet. But I would just say just less generic photos and less photos of things we don't own. I think they're really overused, like Lions Dam, for an example, just saying. I really like that one photo, Lisa Westbrook, Phoenix, that was really cool. So, and just even various aspects of the system that even just show people the kind of the human scape of it as well. That's all.
Well, thinking about that.
And I've got examples of mouse over.
We could do like a drop down photo gallery that has kind of a collection of different photos. Like if you're interested in, this photo gallery, it could have water tanks or, just different areas. But that is an option. We could do that.
Lisa, could you go to the general info tab and then our history? So this is kind of a cool page. It has our history. It's got a really cool drawing of that. And as you scroll down, more about TUD, keep going. Yeah, different aspects of our system, from water supply to treatment plants, the service areas. Keep scrolling if you don't mind. And then some more maps. Maybe on these maps we could, you know, try and incorporate something that Director Balin was talking about, and scroll down a little bit more if you wouldn't mind, all the way. And then we have some cool photos of different district facilities and people working and things like that. I don't know if President Balin's still on. So we have some pretty good photo galleries, but that I think, Lisa, that might be a good idea to put all the photos in one place also. That's one thing about the website, is that you can find the same information a couple of different ways, trying to be intuitive as far as how people's minds work and how to find information. Director Murphy, I think you had some comments earlier.
I do have some, but just as I'm scrolling through I'm on two computers at once. I'm scrolling through the photos, and on them, it might be useful for any of the photos we're putting up just to have a somewhere on them
Caption.
A caption.
Yeah, telling you what you're looking at, or like there's a whole bunch for the current water sewage treatment plant. And so you could either do it in a category that, you know, that shows that those are all pictures at the sewage plant, and then what each one, the settling pond versus, you know, what stage of treatment or something like that. Because with the photos, I mean, they're cool photos, but if you don't know what they are, afterwards, you still don't know what they are. So just a little more educational piece on that would be awesome. I just have a general question too. And so I access the website from several different, an iPad, a couple of different computers, and stuff like that. And it interacts differently with each computer that I do it on. Like on this one, on my big computer screen, it acts how I think it's designed to act, which is when you hover over the thing, you can see the whole scroll box and you can go down, it stays up. And when you go down over the different options, like right now I'm just on bids, requests for proposals, and then you can scroll down and it lights up while you're doing it. On the computer I was on earlier, like every time I moved my mouse, like it disappeared. It was really frustrating because I had to keep trying to hover over different things to get it so I could click on things. And I understand that it's probably different operating systems and different things like that. But do you guys have the ability to try it when you're working on it? Do you try it on different formatted computers to see how it interfaces with? I don't know if that's worth it, but I just know that on my big screen one that's, you know, 1.5 by 2 feet, it works really well, but on my laptop, it doesn't work very well. And on the iPad, it doesn't work very well. So I'm just curious on that interface, if there's anything to be done about that, or if it's just, that's the way it goes. And then I like the idea of a hover over map. I've never created one before. But if Barb says it's easy, that'd be awesome. But really on that, I'm curious about how much information you would put on each of that when you're looking at a map. So let's say we are looking at the maps you were showing before. So let's say you're looking at the areas served by TUD map. And when you're looking on that, just so I understand the hover over, maybe you guys all already know exactly, but so just when we take it to the board, I understand what we're talking about. So like if I hovered over, let's say Crystal Falls, what would I want to appear when I hovered over it?
Well, I think I can answer this question if I understand Director Balin correctly. She would like to see all of TUD facilities that are meant to be shown there, but there's quite a bit in the Crystal Falls area, but primarily there's a water treatment plant and half a dozen or a dozen tanks or so, and pump stations and sewer lift stations. Do I have that right, Barbara?
Yeah, yeah, there's different layers you can use. I mean, and I think my son actually taught this for CAT one time. There's, depending on the layer that you're interested in, like let's say you're just all interested in tanks and you want to click on the Comstock tank just to see what it looks like, or you want, let's say you're interested in the treatment plants. So there's a layer for treatment plants. Let's say you're interested in looking at a picture of the ditch system right behind Packers, you know, or right, you know, that little section of ditch that's right there at Enterprise. You know, nobody knows that little section of ditch. I mean, it just depends on, you know, it's not a real cluttered thing unless just, you know, let's say, you know, obviously you don't want to get a whole cluster of those little bulbs, you know, with hundreds of pictures right there. But, you know, you can certainly caption pictures, which is really great. But if you moused over the Sonora Regional Wastewater Plant, okay, you could have, depending on the layer, again, you could have, oh, you know, look at all these ponds. Okay, I've seen this from the highway. Or you can have one of, here, coming soon, here's our new system. You know, you could have a photo like that. So I totally understand not letting it get too cluttered, but I do believe that there's layers depending on what you want to focus on. If it's just tanks and you want to finally see what that Crystal Falls tank looks like, then you can pull up that kind of layer, and those things, once you mouse over, those things will show up.
You know, my experience, I think this speaks to what Barbara is talking, President Balin is talking about, is a GIS, interactive GIS based type system, which I don't want to take it too far, but you know, TUD did host for a while, the T-Stand IRWM had a GIS type based interactive mapping system that would show you where the different projects are. The reason it's nice to have the interactive is you aren't confined to one map scale. So like we could load an aerial image in the background. We could have all the layers you're describing. You could just click in this. The county has this GIS system right now. And you just click on, I just want tanks, and then you can mouse over a specific area and up pops a dialog box or, you know, something that will tell you the name of the tank and whatever other information we want. Otherwise, the maps that we have currently at this scale, we would probably need to have a master index map and then let people upload or download a separate map for a smaller area to get the level of detail. But we could certainly do mouse overs on PDFs. I'm just saying it depends on how far the board would like to go. We do have the ability to have the county generate the GIS map for us and we can host it. We have done that in the past.
Well, wouldn't it be cool if you were thinking of buying a house up here and you moused over a layer that showed you all the fire hydrants, for an example? You know, I mean, this could be a tool that, you know, folks that don't even live here could be interested in as well.
And the county already has our water mains as well. So it's pretty easy to generate those layers, and they have fire hydrants. We've given them those layers as well. So I think the sky's the limit. It's just a matter of how far we want to take it.
And Eric, with that, does the county already have that on live on the internet, on their website?
GIS system is? I don't think that they populated. I don't think it's accessible to the viewing public, our water mains. because I think they would have asked us for permission to let the public view that for security purposes, whatever. But yes, they do have their GIS system online. You can find your property, and then you can, hover over it or click on your property, and up will come your census tract, your area tax, code, and all the various pertinent features, your zoning, that kind of thing. So the same types of features could be applied to the water system if you want.
So do you think we would be able to utilize what they already have created and have somebody add to it?
That's what I'm wondering. I almost wonder if it would be acceptable, and I'm not an IT guy. If we could link into the county system, use their base, they're hosting it, or just someone's accessing it. It's already a public, interface. They would just be accessing it through our website, and then they would have the water system components available to them that way.
Yeah. Do you think that would maybe be something that the county would be interested in hosting? And like you said, we could just put a link on the website to it.
I don't see why they wouldn't. Yeah.
They have the GIS person, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't know if there's limitations to to the bandwidth and the loading of the map as you come through our system, or if it takes you directly into their website and opens up a new window, in your web browser, or if it's in a screen inside of our website. There's all the different ways in which it loads. I'm not familiar with that, but we could certainly talk to the county if that was the committee and the board's desire.
Well, I think it would just be interesting to know if they would be open to either sharing the files or creating something with a few more overlays that would serve the maybe not the whole purpose that Director Balin was talking about, but I think we've talked about a handful of different things to put out there on the website, right? One was video vignettes about the water district. Second one was a photo gallery, and the third one was the hover over map thing. So it seems like on the hover over map, the cleaner and nicer you can make it, the easier it'll be for the average human to interface with it. And the easier it'll be to figure out because if it's got too much stuff on it, you try to hover over stuff and you don't get the right thing, and it just gets frustrating pretty quick. And I think also when you start working with GIS, you're talking more than a community college student. You're talking, like somebody who can actually dedicate time to this. And, I work with college students and I do community project-based things in my classes. And they're pretty slammed to put in 8 hours for something. And so to get a dedicated person that you're not paying, if you want to make it an intern, if you want to make it a job, then you'll get more dedicated time. But if it's something that somebody's supposed to be doing on the side, I think asking them to do an intricate GIS project is a lot, because most of these students are taking a full load and working at the same time. So I think if we're looking at wanting to do the hover over map thing, we're looking at a bigger thing. With the videos, if we're asking a student to produce what's going to be a 3-minute video on a specific topic, I think that's a reasonable thing to ask, and that can be incorporated into a class project, maybe for one of Kath's classes or something like that. I'm wondering if, as we're going into the summer, though, if that's something that could actually happen in the near future, or we're more looking at the fall, just to kind of ground this in reality. But with the GIS stuff, I think because the county has the GIS person, if they already have a version of this that is happening of some sort, that has the water mains on it, that has the fire hydrants on it, that has things like that, that would be great. But it seems like trying to get everything on a system like that might might take
No, they're layers.
a lot of, I know,
It's
but
an-
a lot of
Lisa,
concerted effort. And so
it's an interactive map. It's not just a congested thing, a hover over congested thing. There's different layers.
yeah, I'm just
So
saying
you're not,
it's a complicated project to have somebody do. And I think that because of all the different layers and all the different information you're trying to put on it, it's a complicated thing that sort of takes a high level of, and your son, I know, can do this well, but he is a computer, he's a lot further along than the average student is in their studies on this and time into doing these things. And so I think being a professor at the college and working with the students, I think if you're going to ask a student to do something at that level, that I would expect it to be a paid internship, not a volunteer project, because it's going to take a lot of effort on that. And we might be better served just to link up with the county and figure out how to integrate with their system. But I don't know. And Eric, that might just take a couple of questions, to find out. I don't know.
Well, feel free to go to the county's, GIS website. If you just type in Tuolumne County GIS, you can kind of get an idea. And there's layers. I'm looking at it right now, and there's probably 8 or 9 layers that you can load. I know they have a lot more data. They just have chosen not to share it with the public. So, I didn't mean to get us way off track. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah, and so I think, I don't know, I'm more inclined to bite off one thing at a time. And so I think that the idea of getting people to know our water system better through the video vignettes. I'm sorry, I just opened the GIS stuff on the county website and it's distracting me. Now I'm trying to get to the other stuff. But what we were saying we were talking about in this meeting was the video components and also the piece of looking at kind of the idea of how do we, the agenda item 4 or 3 of looking towards how to bring the public up to speed on why the PG&E acquisition is a real benefit to the water district. And I think those two things go hand in hand. And I think that maybe having a long-term view of the hover over map and have our focus on the immediate idea of bringing people up to speed on our watershed, water system, and the value of the PG&E acquisition might be a big enough focus for us at the moment. But what do you guys think?
I have a question on, do the video, I'm sorry, I don't recall the name of the department, but do they have any summer courses that any of those students would be involved in?
I can look real quick.
Okay.
For the media and design department? Is that
Oh,
what you're
yes.
talking
Did you already know that, Lisa?
Yeah, well, she said that the student was interested, and she knew I kind of said that it was going to be most likely this summer
Okay.
in our communication back and forth, and she thought that'd be no problem. So it was someone that lives locally.
And was it a paid internship or was it something they were going to do on volunteer time, or did you establish that?
They would like to be paid. So in my view, I was throwing out different thoughts. I think that if we propose something like $500 a video, because I'd like, if we start this series, I want it to be consistent. I want it to have the same look. I want it to have the TUD logo. And most of the filming, I agree with you, Director Murphy, that's not difficult. It's editing it and making it look a little bit professional, and making sure that we have the key points addressed in the 3-minute video. So that's what I would work with them on, and their creativity also on how they would want that presented. So I was thinking in my mind, a budget of $500 per video would be really a great deal versus $2,800 to $3,500
Yeah.
for a real professional doing. And it would also, they could put that on their resume that they've done this project for us. People could view it anytime. So I think it would be a really good win-win for both of us.
Yeah, and I think that the paid internship is the way to do it. The project per project sounds like a great way to do it. And it also, in doing it that way, we set the timeline for what we want and the quality that we want. And if you're, and you pay when the product is done, and that ensures the quality of it. And I think that a really great thing, the insetting maps into it and things like that are pretty simple. I don't know what format you would use, but iMovie has a lot of features and has that stabilizing piece as well that's handy, and you can change the background sound and the foreground sound and things like that. So I'm not sure what program you'd be having them use or what Kath is using with them, but I'll just for my own curiosity, and also so that, have you already talked to her about that?
No, I was gonna pretty much, since I kind of believe that she's gonna be directing them and guiding them on this, it's kind of sounded like. So I would probably leave it up to them, and we'd at least just do one video just to see if we even are in the right ballpark and like the idea and the concept. And then if we all agree that it's great the way we want to go, then we'll keep going.
Great, that sounds like a great way to do it. Yeah, I'm looking up like digital media. There are no classes this summer. I looked up in art. There aren't any under that. I'm trying to think what her classes are listed under. Do you know?
No, I just know that she's the media and design professor, but I don't know what her class schedule is.
I'm on the Connect Columbia right now. Yeah, there's nothing listed for media for the summer. But yeah, it doesn't matter because she's not.
So I need.
It's not a class. It's not a class project, so it doesn't matter. Correct? Right?
Yes.
It's something that we'd just be hiring a person for. So if she has a person in mind and they have training through her, then that's great.
I got to have Jeff Kern step in because I've got to go meet with Ryan Campbell at 4. Jeff, are you available to continue with the meeting?
Just coming in. Say again there, Barbara.
Okay. Yeah, no, my meeting was pushed off till 4, so I need to scoot. So thank you for taking over here.
Oh, okay. You bet. You betcha.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Director Murphy, do we have a committee recommendation for the TUD websites updates? Was it the 3 items that you mentioned so far?
I'm sorry, can you, so topic number 1, so let me back us up a little bit so discussion item number 1 was the proposed video vignette topics and campaign. So that one, what we'd be taking to the board is the 6 topics that you guys wrote up. Let me just double check that had everything that we were thinking about too. Maybe a slightly different version of that, but yes. So with the topics for the vignettes, and then the idea that Kath will be recommending has a student, and it would be created as a $500 per video. I'm just going to put internship or stipend position or something like that. And that we would have one, what's kind of did you discuss kind of a timetable for that, or?
No, because I wanted to see what the board's reaction was going to be
Okay,
on my proposal about having Columbia College. So once, I can let her know that, and I'm imagining this would need to go to the full board. So once we get full board approval, then I can work with her on a timeline. But I'm hoping, now that it's almost May, that we could probably get something done in the next 6 to 8 weeks. I don't think that's, undoable, because then we'd have at least one video done and just see if we like the format and kind of the presentation to move forward.
yeah, and for the first one, were these the topics put in the order that you were interested in?
No, not really. Just those were just the ideas. So we would have to decide what would be the first one that we would think that we really want to focus on.
Okay. Okay, and so, and
And
maybe
we could decide that when we go to the full board, if there's a key first segment that they would want to focus on.
yeah, and so the parts that we'd be presenting would just be putting forth the idea of having a student do this, $500 per video, and we would be picking the first topic to be that we think would be a good one to start with. And these then would get put into a video section on the website
Yes.
that would be created. Okay.
And I'll probably, what seems to work really well is to have them host on the YouTube channel. So I'd probably just rename a page as TUD Videos /YouTube
Yeah,
and have them hosted on the TUD YouTube channel.
great. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. Because it's really easy to interface those then with the Facebook page as well. So great. So that is item 1 in a nutshell. Item 2, because we sort of bounced around on all of this stuff. So item 2, TUD website updates. So what was the main discussion on that we have talked about from your notes?
Sounds like we decided that 1, the video vignettes would go up on that website. And then 2, possibly putting together a video gallery. And then 3, looking at a GIS mapping tool of some sort, if it's possible to do hovering maps. So looking into that, the possibility. And New might have some ideas on that. So I would bring that to her attention and see if she has some web design thoughts on that kind of concept. And then the other thought was if we wanted to do something similar to the CCWD kind of look that I want to.
Yeah,
Oh, like a site, what do you call that? It's a site map, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Pretty much, because most of this
They're all hot links,
information,
right?
it's just broken down into topics. So it's
Okay.
easier for people to navigate.
yeah. And then would they, I missed that part of it when you guys were talking about that. They'd be hot linked then? You could just like,
So they would click on it. I don't know if you could
oh
see
yeah,
my
yeah, it
screen.
is. Okay, it is.
Okay.
I see now. I
Yeah,
was
and then
I
they
was
would-
running my own mouse on there and nothing was happening. So yeah,
Yeah, so they would click on this and it would bring them right to how to do
Yeah.
that
yeah,
topic.
perfect.
so I think that like the idea of the video vignettes is pretty well fleshed out. You said video gallery, was that the photo gallery that was being
Oh,
talked about?
it's photo gallery. That's
Okay.
right. Photo gallery.
With captions, right?
Yeah.
And just on that organization of that, because right now when you go through, maybe it's organized in a certain way. I didn't understand the organization if it is. I wasn't looking at it for organization when I was going through the different ones that are on there, just along the bottom of the screen. Looks like the sewer ones are fairly well together. But then like the construction ones, I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, so do we need to, would we put them more in like categories, or would it just be the label on the individual picture?
I would like, because I have my own TUD photo gallery because I have to use different photos for different things. So I have them broken out myself for different media projects. So that's what I would propose on the website. So we could have one that's just, water projects, sewer projects, or kind of broken out to whatever the topic of the photo is and kind of cluster them together. I think that would be easier for the public because we know what this is, but they have no idea. So if someone's really interested in the reclamation system, we could put all those photos together and they could see Quartz Reservoir and all of that. And, so I
Yeah.
think that would be better for the public.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so that's a photo gallery. And then the other was just a tab on, and is that on the, I'm looking at our website right now. Is that just an additional tab at the top or?
Oh, yes, it would be an additional tab. And what I would do is probably do like almost a media tab because I'll put kind of that you can get to our YouTube page as well and then add the videos as we go. Links to the different titles to the videos for the YouTube. So I'll talk to New and we'll figure out where we want to put that, but it would get put a little bit up here, one of the tabs.
Okay, and that would be, the title I want to doesn't really mean much to me. I'm now forgetting what Calaveras had under that tab. What was?
The
So
I
that
want
would be
to,
more like services?
yes.
Yeah, I think services is clearer than I want to. I mean, just when we have customer service up there. So what would be I'm sorry.
So this would just be, if TUD wanted to, this is just one whole page that kind of organizes what someone's looking for instead of, for example, going to TUD and you have to kind of look for what you need.
Yeah,
So it would be on Calaveras, they have a whole page that if you're not really sure what direction you want to go.
got it.
So it kind of is just a navigation type tool.
Yeah, and that has a name, right? It's the,
Well, they have it as I want to.
but I mean, I think it has a technical name of what that is. It's like it's not the end, like in a book, it would be the index in the, or table of contents or something like that. But on a website, I think it has a
Yeah, it's sitemap.
sitemap. Thank you.
Site map.
Yeah. And so maybe just, that would be an easier, more familiar term. Maybe not. So I'm just going to put sitemap so I remember what that is about. Great. All right, so on the website, I think that those three things are clear how we would do those. And I think that the mapping thing, I think we need to look a little bit more. I mean, I think we need more information before taking that to the board because right now I don't think we know how to do it. We don't know who would do it because we don't have a GIS person for TUD. We've discussed that before. We'd have to use the county person. And I think that it's a bigger project than you would be asking a student to do, I think. But Eric, is that?
I'm relieved that you feel that way. And I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, it seems like a really big project with a lot of intricacy to it with the different layers and stuff like that, that it actually takes I think a reasonable level of technical knowledge and if you wanted a student to assist on that, I think that would be a fair thing to ask, but I don't think it would be a fair thing to ask a student to, I think that would be a difficult thing to take on because I think it would be very time consuming. And so anyway, on that, it would be great I think pieces that would be great to know a little bit more about is how we could go about doing that and what the county could offer into that and would we more likely be trying to link to something that they're doing, or would we be just using, would they be passing over those maps that they already have created that interlaced system, and we would add more layers to it? Or I think before going to the board on moving forward on something like that, I feel like there's more information that needs to be known.
If it's okay with you, I'll just make a general inquiry to the county. I think I know enough of the vision that that you have described, and just gather some information. I'll work with Lisa, and Lisa can work with sorry about the background noise, and then we can find a way to disseminate some of that information back to the committee members, and see if you want to proceed from there. But I can definitely talk with the county and find out if they have what their capabilities are.
Cool. And then I think the other thing would be really, this is the first I've heard about it, is in this meeting. And so to really make a list of the things that we're trying to accomplish on that, like kind of what layering we're doing and stuff, rather than just kind of spitballing it, to really get that down on what would the different layers be, and what realistically could we do, and what are people, what would people, because you have, like, if people want to know about tanks and we have a photo gallery of the tanks, it seems like that would take care of that piece, and you wouldn't need to necessarily overlay that into, you could have the locations of them overlaid into that, but you wouldn't necessarily need to have those photos on that as well. I don't know. I don't totally understand what Barb was asking for.
Well, and an easy thing to do, and this, again, not to go way off track, is if you've been to Google Earth, which I love Google Earth, it's like taking a mini vacation, is that people will pin photos in Google Earth of, things, and they'll geolocate them. There's no reason that, as far as I know, the TUD couldn't just do that. Security is always a concern. I don't want to get too far ahead, but and then any user that's on Google Earth could just, as they mouse over, they would see a picture, but they wouldn't get more information. I'm not sure they get any more information than that. So you're right. We need to figure out all the layers and what we want to accomplish, and what specific information the public would be interested in. But there's many different ways we can give the public access to pictures and other geographical location information that on platforms that they're used to using, like Google.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that one deserves a little more going into before it would be something that would come before the board. And just, okay, what's the goal that we're accomplishing with that we haven't accomplished on the website yet? So that we're not, GIS in my mind also goes with expensive.
Hence, we don't have one here.
Right. So the thing that I don't want to do is put something up on the website that doesn't really get used and took a lot of time to make and a lot of money to put up there.
And to maintain. Right.
Yeah. I don't think it's, I don't think that's, some of these other things are, I think, fairly simple things that you get a lot of bang for your buck. And it seems like with that, there's lots of things you can do that would be really cool, but it doesn't mean we need to do them all. So just keep us in check on what the actual expense on something like that would be, and the actual kind of return we'd get on it, I think is the deal. So that was, oh, and it was something that's come up a couple of times in my brain as we've been going over trying to put more information out there. So my biggest experience with, I've experienced with several different water districts, and all of them have had, you just brought it up, Eric, the security. So this is the drinking water for the community. and there is a level of security of information to protect that system and make sure it's not vulnerable to misconduct. I don't know how you say it,
Yeah.
but, and I know, like, you know, working with the PUC water supply, they're very, very protective of it. And just the level of protection that needs to happen on this. So one of the things I get a lot of questions on is this Sonora Regional water purification plant. That's because I live in the city of Sonora. And so I get a lot of questions on that. Is there any security issue? Because people walk right by it on the ditch, you know, and they're looking right at it. Is there any security issue for people knowing what each of those elements of it do and where the water is coming in and where the water is going out and how that all works? Is there a security issue to that?
I think both Abby and I, if I'm not muted, I think both Abby and I can comment from different points of view. Like for instance, that tank that's behind Eric, is that the Chaparral tank, Eric? That would be one tank that we wouldn't want to give a guided tour, you know, an open, free directions to that tank. I mean, it is a beautiful tank, but it's been known for people and kids to climb up on that tank and many other tanks, and obviously there's hazards there. So, not to mention in that case, they're walking through neighborhoods and close proximity to property. So, yeah, having exact locations might pose a problem in that way.
I guess the question was more not like from the liability side of things, of the human liability, but more the water, protecting the water.
Right. And so, yeah, same goes with that. I mean, over the years, it comes and goes as far as vandalism goes, whether or not tanks or any other pieces of our facilities get vandalized, whether it's just spray painted or damaged in other ways. It comes and goes, but I don't think it's horrible. I think we're okay there. From a sanitary hazard perspective, yeah, again, the more people we put there, the more likelihood of those sorts of things being able to happen. So site security is a big deal for us, for sure.
So would there be, because like one of the things that I was sort of imagining that we could do, and tell me if, but then I was like, I don't know what the security issue on that would be to have people are very curious because you can see it all. You stand on the ditch and you look at the whole thing and you can see all the different what I think is the settling pond, and you can see the old tanks and the new tank, and you can see all those pieces just from the ditch trail that a lot of people walk right there. And is there any security risk to people knowing what each of those things do, or is that fine?
No, I think there's some level of risk there. It hasn't been realized to my knowledge. Over the years, again, I feel like I was here once when there was a contamination, an intentional contamination of the Matlow Reservoir. I forget just exactly what happened, but there was a scare out there many, many years ago, 20 years ago, perhaps. But boy, on that level, I haven't noticed much, but you're right. The ditch trail system does naturally bring you right to almost every one of our treatment plants, and the ability to go from the ditch to the treatment plant area is easy. So, but again, we haven't had, knock on wood, we haven't had a lot of trouble with that so far.
And you don't perceive, like if there was a video vignette on the Sonora water treatment plant and it had embedded pictures, because like in my mind, what I would like to see is embedded, talking to the operator there and then having embedded pictures of the different pieces of that. It's better than a map, and you could have the overall map and then you could show the piece and have that while the operator is talking over what that does, and then show the next picture. Like you can embed that all into video pretty easily, where you'd be showing each of the pieces and having the operator tell you, or yourself, Don, telling us what is happening there as the water journeys through that plant.
Right.
And
I don't think that would be a problem. It would not pose any more of a hazard than, no, it would be more educational for sure. But
yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's what I have when I brought up the videos. That's what I have in mind. is something like that. And I just wanted to make sure there wouldn't be a security, that wouldn't bring up a security risk on that. So cool. So the item number 3, which was the public relations options for PG&E acquisition outreach discussion, discuss possible committee recommendations. And on that, I don't feel like Lisa, do you feel like that we've covered that?
No, I don't feel like we've covered that, but I believe this
Okay.
was an item that also Director Balin, President Balin really wanted to be part of the discussion. So I'm almost wondering if we should postpone that item until she's available.
Yeah, and she didn't.
And I also
Okay.
don't have, from what I'm hearing from the acquisition team, there isn't really any news to report out to the public at this time.
Yeah, and I think that the number one, the just educating people, I think you've got multiple steps of things, and then the first thing is educating people about the system.
Mhm.
And then the after you've got those kind of released. And I think that idea of having them done one at a time, and you could release them one at a time as long as we're doing them in the order that we want them released. And that would build up to the item 3. So let's table that item to a future meeting, if that's okay. Because Director Balin hadn't talked to me about that. So I don't know what she was thinking on. I mean, I don't know where she was going on that one. So I think that's great. And then the Columbia College Scholarship Program update, is that you, Lisa?
Yes, that's me. Abby, did you have a comment on that?
The only thing I was going to circle back, because Director Murphy, you had asked a question or had let us know that you had trouble on different operating devices and different a mobile device versus a computer. And so I don't know that we had the opportunity to answer. I don't know if we have an answer, Lisa.
Oh, I do. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was moving on in my mind to the next item.
Okay.
Actually,
I thought we'd circle back and close up that item.
Okay. That should get fixed on when we switch to the Elementor, because I was just previewing that, and it is more of a platform that's available to all devices. So that should be a fix in the next 2 weeks. And so, and it's really cool. I can actually see what it's going to look like on a phone, a tablet, everything on my screen. It's really cool. So I'm really excited to try that out. So that should be rolling out in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, and that'll probably take care of that, which is awesome.
Great.
Fantastic. Thanks for circling back to that, Abby.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think on the vignettes, I took good notes on the topics that you brought up at the beginning of the meeting, Director Murphy. So in addition to the 6 that we outlined, some were overlapping, but there were a couple particularly about what TUD owns versus what PG&E owns, and the value of owning our local water rights. So that we'll marry up those lists when we bring it to the board.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, item number 4, our last item. It's been quite a good discussion though overall. I took part last week on April 21st, the Columbia College Scholarship Night. It was awesome. I have to tell you, I'm like, when I'm retired, I'm going to do that. So I think that's so much fun to hand out money to people, and they were so excited. And I did get a chance. We had 2 of the applicant winners from the Columbia College from the TUD Opportunity Pathway Scholarship Program. And one of them was so excited because she won, and she's one of your students, Director Murphy. And she was like, oh my gosh, she was so excited. Natasha Mayo.
Fantastic.
And so she is going to be, she's studying forestry and natural resources, water resources management. She's going to be returning to Columbia College this year. And she's looking at getting 2 associate's degrees in both natural resource conservation and water resource management. And she's hoping to transfer to Humboldt State University to achieve a bachelor's degree in fish biology. So that was exciting. And it was funny because I actually knew her when she was a little girl, and I was very excited because I didn't know anything about it.
I was just gonna ask if she was related to the local males.
Yes.
Right
Yes,
on.
she is. Yep.
Very good.
And then the second applicant who was not available because he was working at the time is Anthony White Ramos. And he is a water resources management. And he has been accepted and is transferring to Humboldt. And I'm just going to read just a little clip of what why he applied for our scholarship. He said, the seed that sparked his interest in conservation of the environment and management of natural resources, it was planted when he was very young, attending Camp Jack Hazard, hiking in the immigrant wilderness for very extended periods of time, and learning about outdoor leadership. His roots took hold later, and he started working with CAL FIRE, fighting wildfires. And then he got injured and had to change his career path. So he did that. He's attending Columbia College full-time, pursuing an Associate of Science degree in water source management. And he's had a very good honors recognition by the Dean's List. And it's his goal to get a Bachelor of Science degree at Humboldt State University.
And what was his last name?
His name is Anthony, and then it's White, WHITE-Ramos.
Cool. Thank you so much.
So I would love to participate that every year because it was so much fun. So,
That's awesome. And it's worked out well to work with the foundation?
oh, it's been great, very seamless. And I think it's great because we're not the ones selecting them. We have the criteria. So I don't know any of the applicants, and they make that decision.
Yeah, and they that gives them the ability also to reach more students. And so good job on that. I'm glad that that's the way you decided to go with that. So yay.
Yeah, it went really well.
Excellent. Yeah, the foundation. I've just always been so impressed with the foundation. So yay, success story.
Yay.
And, very cool. Well, so it looks like what I think we're taking to the board is the proposed video vignettes, and Lisa and Abby, you guys are going to be presenting that, and if you would be so kind as to send me the new list, the new prior. I mean, it'll come in the board packet, but I'd love to see it before that. That would be awesome. And then we're talking about the TD websites having a piece with the video vignettes, with a photo gallery with captions, and the site map. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then we're tabling the public relations options for PG&E acquisition outreach campaign. And then you just reported on the Columbia College Scholarship Program update. So that's fantastic and great. And each of those students, that was $500, that ended up being $500 a piece or $1,000 a piece?
$1,000 a piece.
Awesome. And that's great. And that got awarded to them
April 21st.
April 21st. Cool. And is there, just going back to the website thing, is there is there a place that goes out on Facebook or on the website or anything?
For the scholarships?
Yeah, just
I could put something. I don't have photos or anything. It was all done virtually.
yeah.
So, and I would probably have to check with them to see if they're okay with that.
Yeah, I guess I was just wondering if the foundation probably gives acknowledgement to TUD, is that correct?
Yes.
And is that enough, or would we like it, or would you guys like it on the out there in another way?
Let me check with Amy Nelson on that and see what she thinks and everything. And I would have to definitely check with the recipients to make sure they're okay with us, like putting something out there.
Yeah, I think if it's just an announcement of who received the awards, that should already be public information on the foundation website. But I don't know. Check with Amy.
I'll check with Amy.
but it might just be a nice thing to put out there so people know that TUD did give scholarship money, and that because a lot of people probably know these people and, have some connection with them and be like, oh yeah, that's great. So maybe just a Facebook call out to that if that's of interest to TUD and to the recipients and to the foundation. I just think that any of those things where you're doing more of the community connections, again, brings more people to the interfaces and creates more community support. So I think that's if you think I have covered what needs to get taken to the board. If there's anything else, just let me know. Did I cover what we're taking to the board?
I think we covered everything we're taking to the.
Great. So then, Jeff, do you have anything else to add?
Nope. I appreciate you allowing me to participate in this small way. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And anybody else? And Eric, you were gonna then just kind of see what it would take to do the GIS.
Yes, I heard you loud and clear. Let's not overdo this and create, unnecessary expense. So I'll start small and get enough information just to hopefully give you an opportunity to evaluate if it's a worthwhile before we get into the details of what layers and things. So yes, I think I have clear direction.
All right. Awesome. Anything else that anybody feels like they need to say?
I just wanted to add, I sent you an email, but I also wanted just to add that we did participate in the virtual job fair at Columbia College earlier this month, April 6th. And we had breakout rooms. Just a couple of people came over to the TUD breakout room, but had some good conversation with the students and talked about water resources, talked about the jobs at TUD, the wide variety of jobs at TUD and career paths. And so that was a really great experience for me, getting to talk with them about the different avenues they can take within water. And they were really excited and seemed appreciative of the opportunity. So that was always great. We've done that with Columbia College annually, at least for the 6 years that I've been doing this. And so that's always really great. And Mary Watts at the college does an excellent job. She's got lots of energy, so that's fun. And then lastly, just wanted to let you know, Director Murphy, that I am going to reach out again to those two professors that we tried to hook up with on both GIS and both, I'm spacing on the other one. We were going to get on the water quality testing because I haven't connected with them yet, but I'll reach out to them again. They're probably trying to get their end of the year stuff in order.
Yes, grades are due tomorrow. And
okay.
Finals
So
for this week. It's been quite a week.
Yeah.
It's been quite a week.
So anyway, I just wanted to give you those updates.
Yeah, and I will see Jeff and Tom both tomorrow, and so I'll and Kath and folks. So because we do actually have an on-campus form of graduation tomorrow for the college. So
Good.
that's cool.
Great.
It's a drive by.
Oh.
with a kind of not podcast but video. Anyway, it'll be an interesting thing. We'll see how it all works out. But it is an opportunity for folks to have a moment, alternative in-person-ish experience. So we will all be there, very spread out, but I'm sure there will be conversations. And most of the faculty is vaccinated at this point. So cool. All right. Well, thank you all for your time. And sorry about my confusion at the beginning. I was having some major difficulties between 3 computers. And very good. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you all. Good afternoon. Thanks for filling in, Director Kearns.